30 minutes, we get the great pleasure of meeting Michael Mamminga. Please give him a warm welcome. So, you might not know this, but Michael actually studied here, and he was one of the TFs. That's right, wasn't it? Yeah.
I was just like you in 1966. One of you. And I was a graduate assistant here from 66 to 68, taught Euphonium. Had about 8 students, taught brass methods. And it was a much smaller department than it was. I was Fulbright scholar to London, which I was going to tell you about some of the stuff that I did. For you guys that are interested in a little bit of maybe research on the Euphonium and what it's all about. But basically, just so you know about me, I've been the director of fine arts at Richardson Schools for 34 years. Anybody here from Richardson Schools? Oh, okay. Well, we had excellent bands over those 34 years. We had probably, this is maybe debatable, but we had the #1 program in the state, and for years we had state honor bands at all different levels, and we're proud of that accomplishment. But for my part, I was the administrator over that and had an opportunity to work with some really terrific people. But what I was here to talk to you just a little bit, David asked me to come by. When you heard him play at his recital, I was the recipient of the Gordon Jacob Fantasia for Euphonium and band. It was a great experience for me, and just to kind of give you a little bit of background, as I say, I was in your seats, 1966. I graduated in 1968. I was a student of Leon Brown and David Keene. Anybody here know the name David Keene? No? Why, really?
Is one of Don Little's predecessors?
Yes. Yeah, he was, and he's been out in California now. He's up there a few years too. Anyway, he was a Fulbright scholar for a number of years back, but I was interested because being a Euphonium player, unlike you guys, which you have a great opportunity here, you have great literature, a lot of things that I'm hearing these guys play today. You've got new literature, you've got everybody's playing beautifully. And it's a little bit different than it was in my day, because one of my great projects was to find Euphonium literature. To set up a kind of a rationale for what are we going to play, because there wasn't really anything beautiful. Colorado was one of those pieces that Kevin did there, but other than that, when I was undergraduate student at the University of Illinois, and when I went to Illinois, I was a baritone player. That's kind of what we were. And I remember when I went as a freshman, I played the Mozart Bassoon Concerto in B flat on the Euphonium. And I mean, it was really difficult for me. I wasn't all that prepared for that kind of thing. But anyway, it worked out great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And but I'm still a baritone player. And so when I was a sophomore, I played the Handel, the variations of the Harmonious Blacksmith.
So you're playing that at the moment? No. The Handel variations. Wilson, you've been doing Handel right now.
Okay. Now, for me as a baritone player, I had a 4-valve, was a con baritone at that time. Kind of stretch it to say it was a Euphonium. And what I wanted to emphasize to you guys today is, one of these days you're going to be like me, old, okay? You're going to have a lot of things to look back on and talk about and your experiences, and you're in a great opportunity now to focus on your 4 or how many years you're going to be here. But that's a great window to really do some things that will help you in the future do what you're going to do. As I said, I was at the University of Illinois, so I played this piece. Now, like this young lady that played the piano, and like David did in the recital, the first thing you got to do is always get a good accompanist. Somebody that can make you even look better than you might be. And, well, David did that, I forgot the gentleman's Michael Schneider, he was incredible. So back in I suppose this was 1964, so I played these harmonious blacksmith variations. At that time, I wasn't in the first band. It was the University of Illinois Symphonic Band under the direction of Mark Heinzman. Some of you may know that name. But I was in the second band, and rightfully so. And so when I played this harmonious blacksmith, I had the greatest accomplishment in the world, and we did a great job. So I was the outstanding black brass jury. Well, they gave the awards at the symphonic band banquet. I wasn't there. So what that did was open up a lot of avenues, because after that, it became, everybody kind of knew that I was really interested. So by telling that story, what I'm saying to you is, do something that separates you, that establishes you in your uniqueness, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do. I understand some of you are here, music ed folks. Maybe you want to be a band director ultimately. Maybe you want to be a little brass teacher. How many in here are applied euphonium? Nobody?
Performance ranges.
I'm sorry. Got to get the terminology. Applied euphonium. We got about 5, 6, 7, or 8 of you. Okay. Well, good. That's an opportunity. But you see, in my day, the euphonium wasn't that ubiquitous. Wasn't that much around every place. And to find some place like the University of North Texas, or in my day, MTSU, there weren't that many of those places. You have to find a place where you have that kind of opportunity with that many euphonium players like you got here. Because in my case, I had to duplicate trombone. Although my students here in North Texas were all euphonium players, I played trombone as well, because there just wasn't that much opportunity for us.
So how did you meet Gordon Jacob?
Okay. Well, let me go just a little bit about this. So when I graduated in 1968, is the graduate school still right down the street here? Graduate school in Wayne? Okay. Well, in 1968, you walked out the door here towards the Union. The first building was the graduate school. And so I went to when I was finishing up in North Texas, my wife here was a piano major here. And so I went down there and I applied for this Fulbright scholarship, which was a scholarship to study overseas, and I picked England. And I wanted to study about the euphonium and British brass bands. Well, what is euphonium? Well, at that time, for sure, didn't know what euphonium. So basically, what I put together a project which said that the euphonium achieves its most heralded use, that's my term, in the brass bands of Great Britain. So I turned that project in, but to do that, in those days, we didn't have text, we didn't have emails and all that stuff. They just had the little blue onion skin email, air letters that you had to write. Okay? So I had to set up for myself from here and from graduate school. I had to get a school to sponsor me. That turned out to be the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. I had to get a teacher there. That was Dennis Wick. And then I had to do the brass bands. I had to find a brass band. Well, a gentleman there, who I think David knows of, I don't think he had a chance to meet him. Harry Barons was the guy that I chose to be my mentor in England as far as the brass bands. And he was national euphonium champion for...
He was a big name, particularly in the Salvation Army world of euphonium playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was in the Hendon band. So it just so happened that the second guy in the Hendon band got transferred around. It was an interesting situation. So I was offered the second spot. So I was just thrilled to sit next to Barry Parents for a year in the Hendon band, and I got to contest with him and what have you. But I was telling David, and he knows this, that the euphonium in those days was an interesting situation, because you had more official music and you had brass band music. parts like that. I mean, this is like, you know, Tchaikovsky's symphony, and they're playing stuff with Euphonium. I'm going, wow! I mean, it was incredible, which is what was my point of my project, which was that it was to achieve its most heralded use. So I was sitting with Barry Perrins on, I think, once or twice a week, rehearsals in the Hendon band. Then I'd go to the Guildhall School of Music and be with Dennis Wick and the wind band there. It was two different kinds of opportunities. But Dennis Wick, I think as you'll know, one of the things that I played, in addition to lots of other lots of transcriptions, his was the trombone concerto. You know the Dennis Wick trombone concerto? Okay? Do you really know it? Anybody know it? Nobody knows it. Okay. That's probably because now you have Euphonium things to check for yourself. In my day, the Gordon Jacob trombone concerto written for Dennis Wick was incredibly a great piece and very well received. So I played that. So then when I went over there, that's how I got Dennis Wick's name, to go to the Guildhall School of Music to study with him. So while I was there studying with Dennis Wick, I was saying, you know, since I'm over here as a student from the USA, I'd love to have a chance to, you know, get some literature going. He said, well, why don't you call Gordon Jacob? Well, yeah. You know, I could have called him Aaron Coleman before I left, too, but, I mean, he was a big name. I played Flag of Stars. I played, what's another Gordon Jacob piece? But anyway, okay, so to answer David's questions, he told me where he lived and what have you. I called him. There wasn't any emails or anything. And he said, yeah, come on up. So I went up to visit with Gordon Jacob, and I told him, I said, I'm a foreign student here, USA, and I'd love to have you consider writing a piece for Euphonium. So then I sent him a letter. I think I showed you the letter. Yeah. So so we made arrangements for me to go see him, like once every 2 or 3 weeks. I don't recall exactly any particular schedule. His wife, 2 kids. I drove 30 miles to Saffron Walden, England, and took my instrument and played for him, and kind of showed him the things that we could do, and kind of a lot of things that were emphasized in the piece. And so he'd say, okay, give me a couple of weeks and I'll write something up. So I'd come back, and this was pretty much over that whole year that I would drive back to his house, play what he'd written. Yeah, okay, changing. You can see the changes, because the best part of this whole thing was when he got it all done in May of '69, he said, we need to get this to Boozy and Hawks. Now, in those days, Boozy and Hawks at 295 Regent Street. Does that mean anything to anybody? Okay.
And that's Boozy and Hawks, the music publisher, rather than the instrument maker.
Right. But actually, they were in the same kind of location there, downtown London. And so he said, take this in. He finished it. He said, take the score in and give it to John Jones. That wasn't it, but he told me who to give it to. And he said, now before you do it, go buy the printer, get a copy of it, give him the copy, you keep the manuscript. Okay? So, I have the original manuscript of the piece that he played, and I'm going to give it to the UNT, so you guys can all have access to it. And then somebody along the line, I'm trying to get a lot of this stuff that I developed in this year of research on Euphonium and British brass bands to the school here. And those of you that are doing advanced degrees or whatever you have to do, you master's project, you've got some things to do, because again, this is all stuff that I did over the years as a Euphonium scholar. Okay? Now, one of the things is,
This is the instrument that you premiered it on, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, when I went over there, I had an instrument from here, and I went over there and I got acquainted with Boozy and Hawks. I went down to the factory at Edgware Road, and I can tell you the name of the guy sometimes. But anyway, I went down there and said, I need Euphonium, because I want something that said Imperial Boozy and Hawks, London. Okay. So he was the main guy, he was the tuner. So they just, they had 100 of them sitting out there. And I said, okay, you're the tuner, pick me the best one out there. So we played a bunch of them, played them together. And I picked this one, and it hadn't been played yet. So I took it to the Queen's Engravers, Garage Jewelers, downtown London, and had put my name on it here. And it says my name, and it's February 12, 1969, London, England. Then I took it back to the factory and we played it. So that's the story of that, and that's the one that I took. This is the one that I took with to Dr. Jacob's house. And
this plays beautiful as well. I think we've got an instrument similar to this, the UNT that Max played on. The valves, his valves are a bit crackly.
It's a little old. I'll get that. You tell me what we did, then I'll get it fixed.
And for those of you that don't know, this is what Dr. Bowman played also before he developed the Wilson. The Wilson instrument is based on this. So it's yeah, they're still great instruments, and this one's in brilliant condition.
Yeah, well, good. Now I do have a sort of interesting story with Brian, because I know he and I are both from Illinois, so we knew each other for a long time. So I saw him somewhere, I don't remember where, but I think he was on a tour with the military bands, and I went backstage and I was talking to him. I've got the first copy of the Fantasia, and I'm going to be playing it, and I don't remember what he said on the features, but he didn't know that I had the original manuscript. So I said, well, I think that's great, Brian, but if you ever want to check anything against it, I got the manuscripts. What? So it's kind of interesting because you check the manuscripts on the actual scores, got maybe a few issues.
Yeah, and Dr. Bowman's written a little article on it, which is published in the ITA journal, or it was maybe 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you get a chance to look at these manuscripts, one is published by Boozy and Hawks, dated 1974. There are some mistakes when you look at the 1969 manuscript, one of them being that high D towards the...
Brian played it with the band, I want to say, 10 years ago. Okay. Maybe. Something like that. Anyway, he played, called me to come over, so I came over and went to the concert. And he asked me how it went. So what'd you think? And I said, well, Brian, we've got to work on the cadenza. It's a D flat, not a D natural. What? In the printed score, I'm sure you have one. Anyway, in the printed score of the solo part piano, it's a D natural. And so if you hear recordings from 1970 to 2000 and whatever, 5, they all play in D natural. This kind of use your ear, you might think, that's really kind of weird for this piece, but that's what's written, so people play it. It's a D flat. And so and he asked me, so but do you have anything that could, really, lock that in? Yeah, I'll send you a picture of the manuscript where Jacob wrote it in D flat.
And on the manuscript, looking at it, it does look like there's been some development in that.
Yeah.
Is it something that you talked about, that, this D natural is a great note, or is it always going to be a D flat?
Always going to be. It's in the key.
Right.
It's in the key. But he played that, so then he says, oh my God, I've got a lot of recordings I got to go back and fix. No. But anyway, that was one of the interesting things. But somebody could do something with the manuscripts, they could do something, take the original part. How did they change? I don't know. I haven't done the detail to know if articulations are changed, and a lot of little things that you as a euphonium expert might find interesting. Now, the other part of this was I was studying it with Dennis Wick at the Guildhall School of Music, and I think all of you know Dennis Wick does mouthpieces, mutes, and all that other kind of stuff. And I think he still does. I think didn't Rick play a Dennis Wick mouthpiece or something? Oh, there you go. Okay. So he was big time into mouthpieces, and so he introduced me to this guy, Jim Lee, who played in the London Opera Orchestra. Because I said, I'm over here, I'm getting a piece written, I'm I'm studying euphonium with Dennis Wick. I'm doing all this stuff at the Guild. I don't know much about mutes. He said, well, I've got a guy. So, this guy played trombone in the London Opera Orchestra. So I went over to see him, and I said, Jim, I'm here, student. I'd love to have somebody help me, get a mute for euphonium. Really? So anyway, this is it. He made this mute for me, fitted it to that instrument, and his wife was the calligrapher, wrote my name on it, what have you. And now this is a true story. I'm not exaggerating this. When he made the instrument, this was not exactly high technology. I went over to his house, into the kitchen. He had this material laying on the previously cut. But he's like, so he goes over to the tea kettle and he starts making the mute with the tea kettle steam. Really? Is that how you do it? Yeah, man, I found it really works good. Okay. So he made the mute, set up the mute. He didn't do all the detail on it with all this. It's all handmade. Made the mute in his kitchen. And I said, man, this is incredible. So while he was making it, I said, the euphonium, it's a well-rounded instrument. How about a cup mute for the euphonium? So he made me that, same kind of deal. And then the other one that I had experienced at times is what I call a solo tone mute. There's a different name sometimes for something like that, because sometimes a solo tone, I think, has a little bit of a deal with it. But you can see what it sounds like. Yeah, see what the difference in the sound like is. Let me do this, Blake, right? Blake, do this if you would. Here is the straight mute from the piece, more traditional. Perfect. Here is the solo tone mute. A little more focused kind of sound. And then with Blake on Saturday nights, he does this. got to find a place. We're going to pay the people on the scholarship. So I had to find a place. So where I found was the guy that was, I couldn't figure out how to use the phone, because here, you know, you put the money in and you dial your number. Go over there, I later found out is, you call them, they pick up the phone. Hello, Mike? Then you put your money in. So I couldn't figure it out anyway. And so I was talking to Bobby. I said, listen, man, what's wrong with the phones here? He said, well, you got to do this and that. And he said, well, what are you trying to do? I said, I'm trying to find a flat here in London. Oh, man, you just beat me by about 3 weeks. I said, listen, has it got a roof on it? Yeah. I said, I think it's going to be good. So anyway, that's where we ended up staying, 40 Southwick Street in London. And that's where I got all this stuff. What I was going to say is, at the Guildhall School of Music, I did 3 things. I studied with Dennis Wick. I studied with Frank Wright, brass band arranging. And I studied with Peter Wishart on theory. And the Frank Wright, which is a name you may not know, but Dave will know very well, was a long time fabulous arranger for brass bands. And he was big time. He was the arranger. They played Die Meistersinger, was the championship piece for 1968, was October. And so I was studying with him. So get this, one of you guys coming out of North Texas, taking a boat over there in London. I meet my teacher, Frank Wright, and he says, you got to come to the contest. Yeah, what contest? Okay, yeah, the national contest, okay. So I met him over there, and he was the arranger for the piece, judge for the contest, my teacher, so he put me in his box to watch the contest.
You were in the adjudicator's box?
No, but his box out in the...
Oh, okay.
No,
so
not...
Because this is the Royal Albert Hall we're talking
Yeah.
about. Have you seen the BBC proms on the... So that Royal Albert Hall, and that championships you're talking about is happening this Saturday. It's still going.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
So here I am sitting, he was in the adjudicator's box, but he had a booth with his people
Yeah, sure.
as one of the judges.
Yeah.
The other judge, one another judge, we got a great Rimmer.
Okay.
Another these are all brass band names and what. So anyway, I thought this was pretty incredible. I'm sitting in the box, and I walked, because of where I was living, I was able to walk through Hyde Park over to Howard Hall. I didn't have to even take transportation, it was that close. So anyway, I just wanted to do help David out and let you all know what's available and all that came about is this wonderful experience that you guys have. I mean, this was a one-year window for me. And, you know, you never know in life what's going to transpire, but you have a chance to do that. And I wish I would have even spent more time documenting, because in those days, again, there's no text. I couldn't take a video of this. I couldn't, send an email or what have you. It was all person doing your stuff direct with people. And it's a little different environment. But it was an incredible time, and I had friends with brass bands for years after that. But now, like everything, things change, and all those folks are gone and what have you. But
we're really grateful for what you did. That piece, you might not realise it, but that piece, Gordon Jacobs' Fantasia, you commissioning that in '69, I really do believe that there's no doubt that led to the Horowitz Concerto in '72. Gordon Jacob taught at the Royal College of Music in London. One of his students was Joseph Horowitz. And I'm convinced that him seeing his teacher write a substantial piece for Euphonium would have given him a pretty good idea that he wanted to do something similar. And without the Horowitz, we don't have a lot. And without this, maybe the Horowitz wouldn't have happened. So that year that you spent, you did more for the Euphonium than we can ever think of in terms of repertoire. Because that piece, it's way, it's above its time. You know, it was at that time. The other pieces that we were playing, whether it be things like Yellow Rose in Texas, or it could be
Beautiful Colorado.
We had nothing as contemporary as Gordon Jacobs' Fantasia. So for you to have commissioned that and for it to be a real important piece in the repertoire is just brilliant. So thank you so much for coming today.
You bet, absolutely, David.